Pretty much anyone that's in the chat.
All right.
Hello, people. This is Danny Grand. This is my channel, Comic Chats, and we're back again on Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, with the fantastic 4+1. Oh, +2. Terrence is in the house.
Terrence is in the house.
Hey, Terrence, how you doing?
Oh, plus.
Hey, what's going on?
Before we get into it, I always start the show by saying three things. If this is the first time viewing my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Your subscriptions are much wanted and much needed. Please hit the notification bell because I don't want you to miss any material that I upload in the future. And please give me a thumbs up, and please leave your comments because your comments let me know whether or not I'm doing a good job or not. And it also gives me material to formulate other topics to talk about. So please do those three things for me, and it's much appreciated. Today's topic is going to be the panel is going to each tell their 4 favorite female superheroes from the DCU universe and their 4 favorite from the Marvel universe. It's going to be I'm kind of scared on some of this stuff, but usually me and Chris are almost parallel. So.
Yeah, I don't know about today. I mean, and I don't know if you'll disagree with what I got, but I'm not sure. I don't know because this is
only because Chris doesn't know comic books.
Oh, shut up! you say that like you really know anything.
I know you. I know you.
Yes, I'm not drawing from the comic book. I'm drawing mainly from the animated stuff.
Oh, that's cool. I just know. I know that when we went to go see Batman and Robin in '97. He was like, finally, nipples on the bat suit. It's comics accurate.
No, that was you that said that. And I think you were staring at Alicia Silverstone's, but that's besides.
Now, there's really nothing to stare about Alicia Silverstone.
Shiitake mushrooms. She's got something there. I'm sorry you don't find her attractive.
I did until she was in that god-awful costume.
Well, who gives a crap about the costume? Take the costume off, things get better.
Okay, kids, stay focused.
Listen,
because this
ask my dumbass brother to stop talking.
All right, because this is a female-driven topic, I'm going to let the only female on the panel go first.
Chris?
No, that would be Sean, but that's the point. Oh, wait, no, actually, there's the true lady of the group. That'd be Mads. Then you can let the bitch of the group, Sean, go.
Oh, my Lord.
So who are we starting with? Just introduction?
We're going to start with Marvel. Marvel first. Everybody go around, then we do DC.
Fair enough.
Okay. I'll admit my Marvel is pretty standard at this point because I watched a lot of the X-Men cartoon growing up, and I've got the full 90s card collection. So again, in no particular order, Storm is definitely one of my top 4. She's one, uber powerful. She's one of the top powerful mutants around, and she's got a wonderful backstory. And always is one of the always in the gold force, the lead fighting force.
Okay.
Again, Rogue, and this is the 90s animated series or comic book version. I'm not even touching that hot mess of Rogue that they did with the live action movies.
No.
That wasn't Rogue.
Oh no, that was terrible. That was
Which was
Rogue in the X-Men
movies.
Yeah.
She was not Rogue.
No,
Rogue is a tough, badass character, and that version just spent all 3 movies just screaming. No.
Okay.
Phoenix, same version, comic book, 90s animated series. Because they're the only ones who the 90s animated series is the only ones that's actually been gotten the Phoenix right.
Did you see the Dark Phoenix live action?
Have not seen it yet. I feel bad saying that because all of this stuff made it look so much like X3 that I've been hesitant to watch it.
Watch it. It's not as bad as people say it is.
Okay. Well, so long as they didn't make it into a split personality, then we're good.
It's pretty much like X-Men 3 with just a couple of new scenes. I fucking hate that movie.
Hmm.
Meow.
And
Now-
rounding out my Marvel, Black Cat.
Black Cat.
Felicia Hardy, you gotta love her. She's gorgeous. She's
sexy as hell.
she's sexy as hell. She's tough. She does not take from anybody. No, doesn't take any mess from anybody.
Okay. I'm not mad with that list, Mads.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Chad, you're up next, sir.
Oh, all right. Just a second here. How you doing, everybody?
All right.
Word.
All right. Sorry, I was just scupping a bit of a meal before we got too busy here. But top Marvel superheroes. Okay, first and foremost, I'm going to be a guy and say
Female superheroes.
Female.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
female. So first and foremost, I'm just going to be a guy and say Psylocke. And why do you think?
Oh yeah.
Because she is sexy.
Oh hell yes.
I mean, Olivia Munn was a really sexy Psylocke, I think.
Yeah.
She did a really decent Psylocke.
Yeah.
I will give her that. One of the,
She
one of
had-
the
she had
big
the
points of
look.
that movie.
Yeah,
also
she
liked
definitely
that
looks
Storm
good as the
too.
character. Yeah, but
She had the butt too.
Yeah.
I just think she's a bad actress, but she looks good as the character.
Yeah.
Yes.
She had a look.
But
and
you,
it was accurate.
Look beyond the sex appeal. I know it's hard, but look beyond that. And you got a character that's got a really good backstory, a little overcomplicated, but her story is actually really interesting once you get into it. The Revenant arc in the comics got kind of confusing, but it was just all about developing her beyond having her mind transplanted into the body of Assassin and the effect it had on her. But yeah, I like Cyclops for all the right reasons, both character and look.
Okay.
So number 3, I'm tempted to make it a tie, but no, I'm not. Number 3 is going to be Kitty Pryde,
Mhm.
and that's the comics. And I like Kitty because she's a child Cypher character done right. She's there for the kids to latch on to and look into the X-Men world, but she's not annoying. She has a power that she has learned to make great use of, which she does. She has a genius level intellect, might be at times one of the smarter members of the X-Men. And she's growing into her powers and learning how to be a superhero. And so she has some fantastic stories which really push her to her limits, but has her rise up to the challenge. In fact, Days of Future Past is such a revelation because it's future Kitty that travels back to the past and takes over the body of her younger self, back when she was still learning the ropes. And so Xavier got a chance to see what this woman would become in the future. And yes, she was grim, she was dirty, but she still had hope in his dream. So, and the more stories went on, Kitty still stayed relevant. She still stayed a very key member of the team, regardless if she was X-Men or Excalibur. So my number 2 is going to be a toss-up, but I have to go. It's a toss-up between Rogue or Storm, but I have to go with Rogue. And yes, it's for all the reasons you think, including the fact that, I just think she's an amazing character. And again, I prefer the comic version where the story of her absorbing Miss Marvel's character had more ramifications. It wasn't that, okay, Professor was like, no, I'm going to mind wipe you. No, it was when she showed up on the X-Men's door, begging for help and being driven insane, they wanted to kill her. And there was a legitimate debate. And then Miss Marvel comes out of her coma, gets the powers of Binary, which is where Miss Marvel got her powers from, shows up and says, okay, X-Men, get out of my way. This bitch is mine. And the X-Men had to decide, okay, are we are we for revenge or are we going to take a moral stance here? And I just think Rogue as a character is fantastic once you get into her whole backstory. Just all the X-Men have been mishandled ever since the year 2000. They've been butchered and dragged to the mud. Thank you very much. No, thank you, Morrison. But I just love the 80s and 90s Rogue. And my number one is going to be Jean Grey. And yes, for all the reasons you think. I love redheads. But I think she's the heart and soul of the X-Men. She comes off as the mother, big sister character. And I have a lot of respect for her. I have a lot of respect for her in the Phoenix arc and the Dark Phoenix. Again, so much. The X-Men animated series did it well, but the comics did it so much better. And I have a lot of respect with her relationship with Cyclops. And the reasons why, out of the love triangle between him and Wolverine, she went with Cyclops. That he, like her, was the heart and soul of the X-Men and represented something bigger and strove for that dream, while Wolverine will eternally just be the bad boy. And so I think she's a fantastic character. She represents something essential to the X-Men. And I just love her. She's my top number one Marvel villain. I'm sorry, Marvel superhero. Female superhero.
Okay. Good list. Mr. Knight, you're up next, sir.
Okay, so yeah, I think it does kind of come down to female wise X-Men mostly. Psylocke, Kitty Pryde are good, definitely by looks. I would go with that for sure. I'm gonna start out with I guess I'm not gonna put them in any particular order. Take them or leave them how you want. But Scarlet Witch, we'll start with her. One of the planet's most powerful magic wielders in the Marvel universe. She can manipulate chaos magic, warp reality. The cool thing about her character is you don't know a lot about her background. You just kind of know that her and her brother were cast aside fairly early in life, and that they held on to each other. They were kind of in league with Magneto at one time, and then they just didn't. They were disenchanted by that. They didn't like that, so they went out and pretty much struck it out on their own, the two of them. And they have history, of course, a little bit with the X-Men, a little bit with Magneto, but it's kind of this cool story about how she was very much her own woman who I don't need anybody except for my brother. And she didn't necessarily need her brother because of how powerful she was, but she was, it was just that kindred bond that she had with her brother. They were very much a pair, and not in of course, a sexual way, but
unless you're in the Ultimate Universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, let's not go there. Sorry, I brought it up. Sorry. I just never miss a time to diss the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, I know. They're crazy, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
It's okay, because Chris is just reading from Wikipedia.
No, I'm not. I'm not reading from Wikipedia.
Sure you're not.
I'm not. You want to see what I'm reading from? I'm reading from my notes right here.
From Wikipedia.
Nope, not from Wikipedia.
Girls.
No, I'm just
kids.
I wish
kids.
he would understand that I know more than he accepts. But that's just his problem, because he can't like understand that I'm smarter than he is. That's besides the point, though. We'll digress from that. We'll go with Jean Grey. I know you want to go with Jean Grey or Phoenix. I kind of consider them one and the same. They're not exactly the same because they are parts. Well, they are, but the thing is Phoenix came across from Xavier introducing her to the astral plane, which is where her telekinesis powers came out more, and it manifested.
Okay.
Well, that's where it happened.
I know, but the fact that you are spewing all this stuff.
What?
Well, at some point in the 90s, Jean got a Phoenix level power up, so that even the Juggernaut could pretty much literally be stopped by her if you gave her enough time to power up.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is that it was because of what he introduced her to that, and I think, I don't know, the movies kind of show that because the movies, I think, did it whenever she used whenever she went in and used
the Phoenix Force.
No. In X, I think it was in X2 in the movies when she used the
Cerebro.
Thank you. God damn. I'm trying to think. Can't use my Cerebro. But when she used that in the movies, that's kind of what sparked that other side of it. And that's not really how it is in the comic books.
It was the first X-Men movie that
was it the first X-Men? Okay. Well, you see, it's been a while since I've watched anyone. But her character, the split personality thing, when it really gets into it, is really interesting. And I don't know. I mean, it's what Stan Lee wanted. He always wanted to show people with problems. They weren't perfect. They weren't excellent. You know, they had these cool things and you wanted to be them, but then he really wanted you to look at who they were and then think, well, I don't know if I'd like to be part of that. I don't know if I want to have that as a part of it. So there was things about the person that really intrigued you about them. But I think what a lot of people latched onto, especially with Stan Lee's characters, is you latched onto them because of what their faults were, or what their problems were. That's what people latched onto. The people that had that, I don't know if I want to say dual personality, but the people that were fighting their inner demons or whatever, that was something that really attracted you to them, I think. So Jean Grey, yeah, so that would be another one. Let's go with Black Widow, of course. I mean, let's be honest, red hair. I'm a sucker for red hair too, so I'll just say that. Trained to be a skilled assassin. The basic premise, I think, of her character deep down is that she sold the super soldier serum that the Soviet Union had come up with, which is a little different from what Captain America had in him. But she fought a lot of different things, including morality when missions for the Soviet Union and those things. She didn't necessarily stray from her job, but she did eventually, of course, defect to S.H.I.E.L.D. I personally think, as far as the movies go, that she should have been left to be the head of the Avengers. I don't think she should have died in Endgame.
I agree.
I think I love Hawkeye as a character, but I'm not. He doesn't have much to do with the whole universe as far as the MCU goes. So I would have much rather seen, Black Widow continue and actually take over with the Avengers. I mean, she's just playing kick ass, if you want to be honest. I mean, she's just awesome. Then last, not least, of course, I'm not going to put these in a particular order. Storm. Storm is really awesome if you think about her background. Both of her parents were killed in a plane crash. She was basically an orphan. She would, steal, pickpockets, roam around. She did anything she could to survive up until the time that she meets Charles Xavier. Her powers come up and they manifest themselves when she saves Prince T'Challa, is it? Yeah.
T'Challa.
And of course, he becomes a Black Panther. So that's really kind of an interesting arc on her storyline, is that because she saves him, and of course it's different in the MCU how that happens. But we won't go there either. She meets.
I will agree with you because I do. Sorry, I just got to say,
Go ahead.
I do like that they in the first X-Men movie that they actually touched on her claustrophobia. That was because of when she was a kid and being in the orphanage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I like the fact that even in the movies that they keep on that line of Charles Xavier, considering her one of the most important ones, because the kids look up to her. She's a mentor. She's all about the freedom of mutants. I want you to have your freedom, but understand that there's people out there who are willing to harm you. So be vigilant, be ready. but not not in a way that she wanted them to attack people. She just said she wanted people to be able to protect themselves. So that was something really important to her, because I think of what her background was with being a child and being vulnerable and being alone, and how she brought herself up. She didn't want kids to feel that. And of course, if you think about it, if you're a mutant, if you were in that world as a mutant, you're going to feel alone. You're going to feel like you're different until you get to some place like what, the X-Men were, Charles Xavier's school. So, but that's my 4 right there.
Good list, bro. All right. Up next, Mr. Terrence. This should be very interesting.
All right. So first off, this is off the top of my head, and you should know that I actually do not have any favorite female Marvel characters. However, there are plenty of female Marvel characters, female superheroes from Marvel that I like. And this is in no particular order. She-Hulk, specifically from the comics. When I was exposed to her as a kid from my cousins, because they used to have like all sorts of comic books and everything, I thought it was cool the fact that she was able to balance the fact that, her being a lawyer, and then she would go out and do her superhero thing, and then she was an actress at one point as well, and she was able to balance all these amazing things while dealing with all this kind of emotional distress. And I took a liking to her because I'm like, oh, she's big, she's green, she's tough, and she just rips cars and trains in half with ease. And she reminded me of a character that I like even more called the Hulk, which is her cousin. And the females that were in my life at the time, none of them struck me as being strong or anything other than basic and typical. So I was really drawn to her character because of all those things. And I thought that her comic books, for the most part, were really engaging and fun. And I never wanted anything to happen to her. Like anytime that she would get knocked down or she would get caught in an explosion, I remember being really concerned, and I would, flip to the next page, see the panel, and I'm like, oh, okay, she's all right. Of course she's all right. I was just overreacting. Silly me.
I liked when Peter David had her and Dr. Samson be on again, off again.
Yeah. She has a lot of cool stories. Like the word that I would use to describe her would be cool.
What do you have to say about the thought that might be one of the possible Disney Plus things that they've kicked around?
I'm like, when I read that, I was actually excited about that. I'm more excited about the idea of a She-Hulk show versus something like WandaVision, for example. And then next would be Elektra, specifically from the comics. When I was a kid, I liked the fact that she was in all red, and she had like a sort of creepiness about her, the way that she would kind of get close to the shadows, and it was almost like she would fade into the shadows, and then you would see her sigh, and it would end up in someone's neck or someone's spine, and she was just so vicious with her kills. But at the same time, she was very charming, and like as a child, I kind of thought that was a little terrifying. I'm like, man, like on one end, I feel like I want to talk to her, but I don't know if a sigh is going to go in my neck. So she was just very appealing to me for those reasons. And, when I was a kid, I grew up with martial arts movies, and there were plenty of individuals in my family that took up different martial arts. And I saw that she was doing roundhouse kicks and flipping and doing all this stuff. So I'm like, oh man, she's cool off of that alone. She's like one of the best fighters that I've ever read about in Marvel lore. Like she's just really up there. And, I've never really seen her in a situation where I was like, she's going to lose. It was like, I'll believe it when I read it kind of thing. So I really like that about her character. And, Jennifer Garner, I thought did a good job as a character, but unfortunately her movie was a pile of shit.
She was sexy as hell though.
Yeah, she was. But the one that was on the Daredevil show on Netflix, I was like, now that's more of how, I pictured it being.
Yeah.
It still wasn't quite what I read as a kid, but it was better than the Jennifer Garner interpretation.
I agree with that.
And then the next one would be Agent May from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And, she doesn't have any powers, but her character to me is interesting because I'm always so drawn to a woman that's like strong and silent. Like she doesn't feel the need to explain to others why she's as strong or as tough as she is. She just shows you through her actions. And even though she's a quiet woman, it's like I never thought to myself that she's going to be someone where you had to save her. I was like, there's something badass about her. It was the way that she carries herself, because from my experience of being around women that do martial arts, certain ones, they have a certain way about them to where if you see them, like, she can fuck somebody up. Like, I could be wrong about that, but she has the walk and the look and the demeanor. And sure enough, Agent Coulson was building her up like, man, she like took out 50 dudes and this and that. And they even gave her a special nickname. And I'm like, man, she's amazing. And like, I seen her fight against the Kree. She's gone up against Inhumans. And then what I saw from her recently, like she kind of died and then came back to life. So I'm like, man, if you put her in the MCU, I know Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is in the MCU, but not really.
Loosely. Jeff Loeb and Kevin Feige do not like each other.
Yeah, no, they don't. And which is funny because that's why we haven't seen Lady Sif since she was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So Kevin Feige was like, oh, so you want to work with the enemy? They won't be seeing you anymore.
Exactly.
You see, that's kind of the problem that I have with, and DC doesn't play like that, but that's kind of one of the things. It's like, you guys, if you're going to do this stuff, you really want to work together. You gotta share characters and stuff, because that's the only way that
Well, I mean, for God's sake, man. I mean, just for a second, they had Ezra Miller, the cinematic Flash in Crisis, talking to Grant Gustin's Flash.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's important that you have that connection, that you have that handshake, that cooperation between your
honestly, I'm actually glad that was not the case, because all of the Marvel shows that were not under Kevin Feige, they felt different, instead of all blending together. They would never do something like Daredevil, Marvel's Runaways, and Jessica Jones. They don't have the balls for that. So I'm actually glad that he was not in charge of that.
Well, it's not Kevin Feige, it's Disney. It's Disney as a whole, I think.
Yeah, well, that's what one can think, but let's be real. In terms of Kevin Feige, he's a little bit of a yes man, and when he presents information to the public, I've noticed that he kind of twists things around because he doesn't expect people to look into what he's saying, and you could find that he's lied multiple times. But I'm like, all right, Mr. Feige, I like you, but can you stop the bullshit, please? I'm not stupid. Like, calm it down.
True story.
But in terms of Agent May, like, I firmly believe that if you put her in an MCU movie and she were to come across Black Widow, she would just whoop her ass, because I'm like, man, Agent May has been through so much. Like, I've seen her get thrown against a pipe by a Kree, and bear in mind that this Kree is like probably 200 times stronger than she is, and this was like a really huge Kree. I'm like, her back should have broke 10 times over. Like, it should have been broken the rest of the series and beyond. And she got up, flipped, did a Hurricane Rana, and flipped him and punched him in the face. I'm like, the fact that your back didn't break already somehow implies that you're superhuman. And then the amount of strength that it takes to flip a Kree of that size. So I'm like, yeah, Agent May is awesome. I really like that character.
Yep.
And then no one's gonna say this, which is fine. Madam Web, specifically from the comics. Madam Web, to me, now I was exposed to her at a very young age, which is pretty much most of the characters anyway, because I started reading this stuff at a very young age. The character I like a lot because when I was a kid, when I was getting bullied and going through stuff, like, I really wanted to have like a mentor, like someone that can guide you when you're at your lowest points. And she was like one of those characters. Like, anytime that the Spider-Men or women, were going through something, she would be there to guide them and to build them up to their best and finest point. And like a lot of humans don't know about her. They think that a lot of the Spider-Men and women, they just do stuff on their own, and Mary Jane this and Aunt May that. I'm like, yo, we can't forget about Madam Web. Like if you X out a lot of the conversations that she's had with these spider people, I'm pretty sure they would have met their demise, you know, especially like Peter Parker. Like I like Peter Parker, but he has a lot of what I call bitch moments, you know, like just extreme moments of weakness, you know, the I can't do it. And there was actually this really cool story, mind you, where the One Above All, which is all in all of like maybe 3 Marvel comic books, he specifically came down to talk to Peter Parker because he was going to hang it up because, you know, Aunt May was dying and all this. I'm like, yo, Peter, stop it. And he had to take him to a beach and tell him like, okay, if you weren't Spider-Man, I want you to know that there would be so many humans that would be dead and a few people that wouldn't even be heroes if it were not for you. And he told him to look out at the beach, and it was just full of bodies, not dead bodies, but just people standing to where you couldn't even see the sand. And at that point, he realized like, damn, I need to stop being a bitch and get my shit together. Like people need you. You're a superhero. Like you've already made your stake in the world. And if you just up and quit tomorrow, just because one human died, there's going to be all kinds of villains that are going to go out and do horrible things because they don't have to worry about Spider-Man stopping them. You know, this selfish stuff is irritating. But anyways, Madam Web to me was kind of character to prevent those things from happening. And she was able to sense it. There was a time traveling involved. So Sony wanting to do a Madam Web movie, I think would be great. And it would expose people to that character in a way that they're going to be like, man, like, she's so important. Why haven't, like, I heard about her sooner? Well, it's like, sometimes you got to read the comic books. Yeah.
Okay, Terrence. I ain't mad at that list at all. Like you, Madam Web was a bit of a surprise, but you're describing why you like it. It was on point to me. I think I'm gonna go next and let Mr. Sean Stackhouse pull up the rear.
Cool.
No particular order. Black Widow, mainly because I really didn't know about her before the Avengers and Marvel, but her character grew ever since the Iron Man. I agree with Chris. I did not like the fact that she died in Endgame. I think she was very important. Had I been running the show, Hawkeye would be dead. I don't think he brings as much importance to the franchise as she did. I'm very excited about seeing the upcoming movie, and I'm hoping that it's going to have some information here that's going to possibly change some things in the Endgame. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I want to see. My next one is Scarlet Witch. Red was introduced to her a little bit in the comic books, but what really made me really like her is her little bit of 5 minutes to fame she had against Thanos, because she was giving him the business there for a few seconds. And I think she's a lot more powerful than even the movies or the television is saying. I didn't read House of M, but I've heard fantastic things about it. So I'm going to make it a point to read that sometime here in the next month or so. But I'm definitely impressed. In the comic books, it's a little bit different backstory. I think she's a mutant in the comic books, but in the movie, if I'm not mistaken, she got her power from the Tesseract. So that's a little bit of a difference that I see TV versus movie.
I gotta warn you. I think that House of M is a good starting point, but like her history can be a little confusing if you're not giving recommendations in terms of where to start. Because I mean, just the whole mutant thing. I say start with that one and then go from there. And kind of pick around, because with the X-Men, they don't understand the idea of continuity. Their comic books are all over the place. But anyway.
Okay. All right.
Basically, I just want to say that there's been certain reboots throughout the years that have just rebooted everything. Year 2000 was pretty infamous for that.
Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where a lot of people agree that that's where it went to pot. The 80s and 90s were really famous for having an interwoven continuity. Year 2000 was when new management took over, and they just said, "Screw it, writers, do whatever you want."
So
My next one is She-Hulk, and that's mainly based off of I have Disney Plus, and I've been watching the She-Hulk on the Incredible Hulk series. She's sassy. She's very confident. I agree with some of the stuff that Terrence said, how she can kind of balance her private life and her superhero life. I like that. I kind of wish there was an episode on one of the Incredible Hulk series where he was able to give him a transfusion and he could have the brains and smarts of Bruce still while the Hulk, but it kind of wore off. But I wish that's why I like Professor Hulk. I want to see. I like the fact that he's smart and intelligent and has that brute strength. So She-Hulk, she totally encapsulates that. Like I said, sex appeal is there, but she's confident, she's sassy, she gets the job done, she kicks ass. So she's definitely one of my favorites. And the last but not least is Rogue, and that's mainly from the X-Men cartoons. I like that Southern Louisiana accent she has. The fact that she's a badass. Little chemistry and love situation between her and Gambit. Gambit's one of my favorite X-Men. I like the fact he came back from that guild he had when he's in Louisiana. He used to be a thief and stuff. And the fact that she kind of changed him, and I forgot who she got her powers from. Was it Captain Marvel? Not Captain Marvel, but
well, I mean, more of her higher abilities she did.
Yeah.
Like, I hope when they introduce her, they show when she whooped Captain Marvel's ass and took her powers.
Yeah. One thing I do like on the live action, I don't like the rendition of Rogue, but I like when she was able to absorb Wolverine's power and she kind of act like him for a few days. I kind of like that little spot in the movie. But Rogue is definitely one of my favorites, and I get that from the 90s cartoon. I like when the story surrounded her. I like the chemistry between her and Storm. They were more like sisters, and she's just my favorite. That's it.
Yeah, I agree with you about Rogue and Storm. Like they just came across as just having a really good rapport back and forth. Rogue being the more wild one, Storm being the more controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I like Storm, is because she has to be controlled. Because if she loses control of her emotions, her powers go completely haywire. Yeah. But I will give you props on She-Hulk as well, because she's awesome. And there was only 4, so I can only pick certain ones. But I have this card from the 90s collection that says it's her talking to Bruce, and she's like, "I'm 6 foot tall and bright green. People are going to stare no matter what I wear." Mm-hmm. I always loved that.
Yeah, She-Hulk is definitely a fan. And I'm like with Terrence too. I'd definitely rather see the She-Hulk series than what is it? Which WandaVision?
WandaVision.
Yeah, man. On the Super Bowl was not appealing. Not the WandaVision part wasn't, but I'm ready to see that Falcon and Winter Soldier.
That was the best of the 3, and then Loki.
Like a cross between Donna Reed and Weaver, and I'm just like, what are you doing with this thing, man?
Like they were dressed like the Brady Bunch, and then
Weaver. I just hope it turns out that's just not what the show is.
That better be like a small segment, because if it's like that sitcom, they're gonna do a lot of romance. I'm like, man, come on, man. And then I hope Baron Zemo is not the focus in that Falcon Winter Soldier show. He was
probably not
terrible. I'm like, that is not Baron Zemo from the comics.
Well, I was telling Sean when we were talking about that last night about the spot that when Loki came on, I said, if they follow Loki after Endgame where he's escaped, and they can basically do the alternate timeline where he doesn't die by Thanos' hand. I'm okay with that. Let's see Loki outside of everybody else. Let's give Loki a show. And I mean, you know, it doesn't have to be. I don't know. I just love Tom Hiddleston and how he does that, and I think he portrays the character very well. And I'd love to see what they give him for his own show. And I just, the more you just give it to him and let him be Loki as he plays Loki, I think it'll just be really good.
I agree, because I hope they show how the Avengers just blatantly messed up the timeline, and Professor Hulk didn't know what the fuck he was talking about.
That's fine.
Not how time travel works, Professor Hulk.
Well, that's fine. I mean, well, Sean and I have both agreed on this, and you probably will too, that when they introduced time travel, they just screwed the pooch, because you can do whatever you want now. You can go backwards. You can split it off into 1,000 timelines. It doesn't matter anymore. It's Star Trek, basically.
But I love how they didn't mention the Flash, which is done time travel the best. Like in comic books, no one does it better than the speedsters. And I like how they didn't mention that, even though every chance that DC gets, they mention Marvel. I just wanted to throw that out.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's very true.
And I just want to go back to She-Hulk for a second. I honestly am terrified of them doing a She-Hulk series because I love the character as Peter David wrote her. Basically, she was Deadpool before Deadpool was Deadpool, where Peter David would have her break the fourth wall at the most random moments. And the best part about it wasn't nonstop. It would be just out of the blue, just something like, you know, this entire book has gone to crap since John Byrne quit.
That's fair, but I gotta say, Deadpool has the craziness over She-Hulk. Like Deadpool, he's insane. Like,
but I mean, like I love that aspect of her character, the way Peter David introduced it, and I love how sassy she was as a lawyer. I loved how she wasn't afraid to use her looks. To get the advantage in a fight, and I know Marvel would not do any of that.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But if with that very great point that you just made, I mean, I could just think about that for all of their projects. I'm like, they're going to water it down. It's going to be family friendly. They don't have the balls to do what they should be doing. But if I do that, I'm going to make myself not enjoy the content as I probably would if I wouldn't think like that. Because, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, I've noticed that there are plenty of things when I watch these shows and movies that just, it just really gets to me. Like, why did you do that? But if I can at least have a good time, I won't be mad. I'm like, hey, you entertain me. That's what a show and a movie's supposed to do. I can forgive some of the creative choices, unless it's like Dark Phoenix. If it's Dark Phoenix bad, I ain't forgiving that shit.
I don't understand that either, and I'll subject myself to it because I guess I have to make sure that whatever. But I agree with you totally. It's like complete off subject, but like The Mandalorian, there are definite parts that they didn't go the right way necessarily, but I still liked it overall because it still honored the tradition of what they were trying to show.
You guys realize I haven't gotten to my 4 yet, right?
Yes, I know. You need to go.
Okay, all right. Go ahead,
I'll make one quick thing. The reason y'all talking about time travel, they got that from this comic book right here. If you get a chance.
I'm not saying that they can't do it. It's just
I'm saying that's where they got the idea. That's where
let's separate.
It just means that everybody who dies can come back at any time.
Okay. Yeah. No, I understand. But just on a quick note, like that's not how that shit went down with Thanos. There was none of that. Yeah, we're gonna hop time. No.
In the comic books, they get away with all that because there are so many different writers. There's so many different versions. There's so many different storylines. There's all this stuff going on. And the only way to explain 99.9% of it is to have things like time travel, alternate dimensions, things like that. But once you start putting it into the movies, I think you really start making this so that you can't have any development.
They needed to have hard rules, limitations, and show what happens if someone pushed that limit.
Right.
Y'all can't have your cake and eat it too. If
somebody say yes, we can, guys.
No, you can't.
John, you got because I will just in game for 4 hours if you don't go. Like you gotta go.
I'm saying if a studio does something and they go veer off on their own, you'd be like, it's not accurate. It's not comic book accurate. Now, when they do something that's comic book accurate, you complain about, well, you can't do that because this, and this. You can't have it both ways. That's all that I'm saying.
No, you're right.
You would have this comic right here.
Certain things, Danny, like I said, like I can accept, and other things, like when Professor Hulk is trying to sound smart, and I'm like, that's not how that works. It kind of irritates me, but yeah.
So I'm just going to give an example. Okay, this is from a Kamen Rider show. I'm just going to keep it very fast and loose. So basically, the entire theme of the show centers around time travel. And it's basically like they're going back in time to stop aliens traveling from the future from screwing up the past. And basically, during the entire show, there's this timekeeper saying, don't change the future, protect it. Never try to change the timeline. It's basically repeated every episode. And 20 episodes later, we see them have to break the timeline to bring in past Kamen Riders to beat the villain. And then it's like, okay, you did this. You realize there has to be consequences, right? He's like, what are they? I don't know. They haven't developed yet. Turns out, by changing the future, he ended up erasing 3 of his best friends from existence. And they died slow.
Right.
Like, they died slow and feeling it. And literally, the Guardian Time was like, there's nothing I can do. I warned you. I literally warned you not to do this. And that is why. Now you got to live with this. And that's the kind of limit they should have placed there, where it's like, no, you don't do this. You don't take advantage of it. And it's going to suck if you try.
Right. But I mean,
that's why Black Widow's dead.
There's no like real consequences in the MCU. Come on, go ahead, Sean.
Hold on.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
Reading Wikipedia looks to be.
Oh, I do know what I'm doing. But
he doesn't know what he's doing. It's okay, guys. He's used to this. He just can't admit it.
Danny, can I share a screen really quick?
Yes, sir.
Somebody said a key word that just triggered something in my mind, and I have to play this 18-second clip.
Oh, God, no.
Oh, this should be good.
As soon as Mr. Danny will switch over to my screen.
I'm switching.
Well,
wrong one. We had it there for a second. There it is.
Oh, God, no. Erased from existence.
Thank you, Sean. This is awesome. Cisco Ramon in Endgame. He presented this exact scene. Thumbs up.
I'm sorry, Terrence. What did you say? Because we were in echo hell there for a second.
Yeah.
I was saying that Cisco Ramon from The Flash, if he were in Endgame when Professor Hulk was talking that nonsense, he would have the exact scene that Sean just played.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, and you know, as much as you know, I don't know if anybody doesn't like Back to the Future, but Back to the Future handles all the questions very, very well because you know, things happen in that movie, and then the next movie things happen again, and they have to constantly go back and fix. And what you find out at the end of all 3 movies, and even each individual movie, what you find out at the very end is that it's still not totally fixed because they touched the past, they touched the future, they did something you weren't supposed to do.
So anyway, moving on.
You're 4.
My 4. All right. So in no particular order, I'd have to say Gwen Stacy because she becomes Spider-Gwen, you know, and I really do enjoy Spider-Gwen. I know Danny doesn't like it. Jessica Jones. I really do like Jessica Jones, and I'm not necessarily talking about the Kristen Ritter Jessica Jones, although she fills out a pair of jeans like nobody else. Then I'd have to go with Rogue. Rogue is a great character, and Jubilee. I really, really, really like Jubilee from the X-Men cartoon. Apparently, Danny didn't like my choice.
I did say one word. You didn't hear me say one word, did you? All I did was laugh and frown.
You didn't have to say word, man.
That's your list, boss.
You didn't have to say word.
Very good list, Sean. I appreciate it. Now, we're going on to DC. DC, this should be very interesting. I think I'm going to start off this time with Mr. Chad.
Oh,
Go ahead, sir.
Put me on the spot. Oh, very good. Okay, so one of my first, and this is going to be in no particular order because I'm not quite as familiar with the DC superheroines.
What?
But yeah, I'm not the superheroes. Yes, the superheroines, not so much.
Huh.
So this is not going to be in particular order, but one of my favorites is Zatanna.
Who?
Yeah,
Zatanna.
Zatanna.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And yes, once again, it's exactly for the reasons you're thinking. I mean, them legs. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yes.
Mhm.
You know, we gotta know
I
that.
like the episode when she was helping Batman when Wonder Woman was turned to a pig.
Yep.
Yep. But it's also like she's just a fun character. I love the backwards magic spells. I love the cheekiness of her. I've been reading some of her comics, and I love the fact that she's got an on again, off again thing with Constantine.
Yeah.
Yep. She's just a very fun character to follow. No real epic stories I've seen her in, but just fun. So next
who doesn't
to
have an on again, off again thing with Constantine?
Mads.
yeah, Constantine, he gets around, don't he?
He does, but to give him some credit, he does pick specific women. He does have a taste.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't care if it's men or women or whatever.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
him. He's awesome.
personality wise, he has a taste because there are people who turn him away.
Yeah. So
Dan, you
next
got
up,
20 people watching, man. 20 people.
Say again.
You got 20 people watching.
Outstanding.
great man. All right, so next up is going to be a 1-2, Black Canary and Huntress.
Yeah.
I thought about Black Canary. I thought about that.
I don't like Black Canary on Arrow though.
Yeah. I like the Black Canary on Smallville a lot better than the Black Canary on Arrow.
Which Black Canary on Arrow? There's been 4 of them.
My favorite Black Canary on Arrow would have to be Sarah Lance.
Okay.
Okay, I'm a purist. I'm going to keep the straight comic book animated Black Canary.
Yeah.
Since that's just where she's at her best. Like,
didn't she date the Arrow on there?
Yeah.
On the animated series? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest beef of the live action Arrow. He ended up with Felicity, and really he's supposed to go with Black Canary.
Yeah.
Right. That's right, Sean. I'm like, yo, you can tap Felicity, but you're supposed to be with Black Canary. Come on.
Exactly.
None of them were Dinah Lance, though.
Man, Felicity.
Oh no, they were.
Felicity.
She was Dinah Laura Lance.
Yeah. They just played around with the names, which is why you have literally 4 of them and one from a completely different Earth. So that was just
the only actual Dinah Lance in that series is it used to be River Song from Doctor Who.
Well, no, the Kate Cassidy, her she went by Laura Lance, but I mean her full name was Dinah Laura Lance.
Yeah, and then the third Black Canary was called Dinah, but it's like how I'm saying, they just played around with the names for comic book fans because there's been so many different interpretations, which is why they gave us 4 different ones.
And the reason why Oliver pushed so hard for the final Dinah to join is because she shared a name with Laurel, Dinah Laurel Lance, and he felt it was like a sign of some sort.
Yeah. And actually, Sean, I just sent you a message on Twitter. If you can do a screenshot, it's just my ideal casting for Black Canary.
Okay.
Ooh.
Remember, Sean, warn us.
I don't want nothing. Just show.
Yeah, I sent it to you in a message.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Tall.
Interesting. See, I would like to see her in the outfit.
Yeah, I'd like to see her on the outfit personally.
Right. She's go ahead.
Yeah. What is that person's name?
Her name is Marie de Nesbitt.
See, you've already lost me at a name I can't pronounce.
Okay.
I don't care if I can't pronounce her name. As long as she kills it as the character, that's what I care about.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're right.
Like she's very tall. You can see very sculpted, very beautiful. Has a nice musculatura. Gorgeous as all hell. Natural performer. So I mean, I think she'd nail it as a character or someone with a similar build and look.
You know what? We might end up seeing her in the Arrowverse. I mean, they've already done 4 different interpretations, so I'm pretty sure a 5th one is coming.
Terrence, speaking of Black Canary, I saw your video that you posted earlier about how you're not necessarily happy with this Black Canary in Birds of Prey.
Who is?
No, I don't like race and gender swapping. Now, like I've said before, if the actor or the actress does a good job, which is what I want, because I don't want to see a terrible any character.
No.
But if I'm in charge and someone comes to me and they're like, hey, we're going to cast this actress or this actor, I'm like, no, you're not. Why is that, sir? Does this look like the character from the comics? Well, we wanted a black actress. I'm like, why don't you use a black female character that's already in the comics? There's like a whole bunch that you haven't even touched yet. Well, the public doesn't know about that, sir. They don't know about it because you haven't used them. You
know about it. Yeah.
And it ain't even that. It's just the actress. She has got the most jagged rib bones I've ever seen. Like this woman could body check a dude and take like 3 layers of meat out of the guy.
Maybe that's your shtick in the movie, man.
Yeah, it's like, come on, give me a woman that looks like she eats. All right, come on.
Right. It's like trust me, like I said, like I'm excited for the movie and I hope she does a good job. I wish the best for anyone that does the roles of characters that I really like. I don't want to see a bad performance. Nah. And if she does a good job, I will give her the props that she deserves. And it won't be, she's not the right whatever. It's like that goes out the window once she proves that she can do a good job. But for the time being, it kind of leaves a bitter taste in my mouth because I was expecting to see the character how I've read time and time again, only for you to make typical changes that you do all the time. It's diversity. We always got to make them black all the time. I'm like, stop doing that. We don't need your hand-me-downs. Give us the actual black characters from the comics, like how they did with Black Lightning. They should have had something with him a long time ago. They just decided to do Black Lightning. I'm like, that's awesome. There are so many black characters and even Hispanic characters that people don't know about because they don't use them. And they keep saying diversity, diversity. I'm like, if I drop a bunch of comic books on your desk and ask you why you're not using them, they're going to have a stupid look on their face.
Right.
Like when you tell me you're
not a hard. Sorry, this is not a hard character to portray on the screen. She wears jeans and leather. Come on.
Exactly.
It's the most basic and affordable cosplay outfit you can get.
Right. And like one of the disgusting rumors that I heard about Robbie Reyes as Ghost Rider before we got him is that they were going to cast a white guy. I'm like, why would you do that? Like, I got so irritated with that. I'm like, don't you do that to this Hispanic character. I'm like, there's not enough of them. I swear to God, if I see a white dude with blonde hair saying I'm Robbie Reyes, I'm tossing my remote at the screen. So, thankfully that didn't happen. So that's my point. I know like a lot of humans, they sometimes they get uncomfortable and they're, they say stuff like, you're racist or you're sexist. I'm like, that has nothing to do with anything. It's called being accurate.
Exactly. So moving on, Huntress. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there, but yeah, Huntress. I like her. She's got the same origin as Punisher. Saw her family get whacked by the mafia. Then pulls a Batman, goes off training so she can get revenge. She's on again, off again. Bat family. Every now and then she hooks up with Nightwing. And I love the fact that in the Justice League animated series, she had a fun rivalry going with Black Canary.
Yeah.
And I think my number one is kind of an anti-hero, and that's Lady Shiva.
Okay.
And she's not really a hero. She's not really a villain. She's an anti-hero. She's just an elite level martial artist who looks at Batman and thinks that she sees him as a perpetual possible apprentice or rival. And she will do anything to bring him into her fold.
Right. Yeah.
And she was the one responsible for helping him get his groove back in the Nightfall storyline when Bane broke his back.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that soon after she tried to recruit Robin, the second Robin. I think it was Tim Drake. And that was a cool arc too, because Batman never really told him much about Shiva, kept it very private. So he was being played the whole time and had to figure it out on his own. So that was a great arc for him. And I just think she's a really interesting character. Like, she's just super powerful with her martial arts ability. She's on Batman's level. And you never really know which way she's going to go in any given story.
That's right. Yeah, Batman did say that you are one of the best martial artists I have ever faced. And if Batman says that, then there's no argument about, well, I'm not sure about her. What you mean? Batman is sure. That's all you need to know.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. It's never really been decided who's the better martial artist. We know Batman's been able to fight her to a draw. We know he's been able to hurt her, but they've never gone all out like this is to the point where one of us can't get up anymore. That's never happened.
Right.
Story.
Yeah.
All right, Chad, that was a good list.
Thank you.
All right, we're going next with Mr. Knight.
Okay, so let's see here if I've got it up or not. Probably not.
They make medicine for that, Chris.
No, not like that, Sean. I don't need what you need, so don't try to keep us the same here.
Girls, don't make me turn this chat around. Okay?
I'd actually
Turn it around, Mom. Turn it around.
He walked into that one, Sean.
Get some Gloria Estefan up here and turn the chat around.
Oh, good. That was funny.
I can do that too.
Okay, anyways. Let's see here. Let's go off and start somewhere again, no particular order, but I will start with something that people probably wouldn't think and go Mara from Aquaman. She's got her powers. She can wield large bodies of water, not for long periods of time or whatnot, but she's got like superhuman strength and all that. She's basically Aquaman's sidekick, but she can handle herself type thing. But let's be honest, red hair again. I'm out. I'm done. It's over.
It's a damn shame that Amber Heard is such a liar, man, because I don't want to see somebody else replace her in Aquaman 2 because she looks so good.
Wait, is Amber Heard listening? Fuck you, Amber Heard. Continue.
Damn.
I don't give a crap. Let her continue. I don't care because I'll be
Man, I'd say something, but
I'll focus on the character. As long as the character is good, it'd be like fine. But if I ever run Amber Heard, I'm like,
yeah, I don't watch a movie because of the actor or actress. I think Mel Gibson's a complete douchebag. Excuse me, but he is.
Shut up.
Mel Gibson's a douchebag.
You're a douchebag.
Leave Mel Gibson alone. He's been through enough.
Yeah, I know. But there's people out there who are not great people, but I still love their movies. Mel Gibson, I love Mel Gibson as an actor. I love Tom Cruise as an actor, but I don't care who they are in real life. I'm not.
Okay. Amber Heard is not that good of an actress.
But she's got red hair and she's got.
Well, she's technically a blonde. She had red hair for the movie.
Like she did a good job, but you can find so many other women that can do just as good or better.
Okay, that's true. But
yeah, you're right.
I'm going off the character. We're not talking about her, but whatever. But okay, anyways. Zatiana, again, Chad said it. I think it's kind of interesting. Zatiana. I always differently. Hey, so sorry. I
felt like you're ordering off of an
menu. Yeah, dude, it's pronounced
I'll have some Zatiana, well done, please.
That's legit.
Okay, just
how you want
ease on the chilies.
Hey, listen. You know, Chad mentioned it about the backwards spells and all that, but more to the point of the way she looks. I think when you first get into comic books and stuff as a guy, when you're first, it's the look. It's the look that draws you to the female characters. Let's be honest. They do a great job of drawing them.
Oh, they do.
And I love that.
Fact.
So Catwoman. I love Catwoman because she's neither a hero or a villain. She morphs into both very well, and she's much like Batman in the sense that she doesn't really have superpowers. She's just kind of I don't know. That's probably one of the best things about Batman is that none of them, quote unquote, have superpowers. They have intelligence. They have gadgets. They have things that help them do the things they do. But she's acrobatic. You could wrap her legs around my neck and I'd be dying a happy man. I don't know. Things like that, you know?
Wow.
Damn.
I'm just saying. And then we'll go, definitely not least for sure, but Wonder Woman. She is the standard of female superheroes, and you cannot go wrong with her. I've watched the TV series, the movie, the comic books, all of that, and the cartoons. I love Wonder Woman because she's got the bracelets of submission, which in and of itself is a great name for bracelets.
The history of Wonder Woman, right?
Originally,
Wonder Woman?
What
the creation of Wonder Woman?
Originally, she was clay brought to life.
No. I mean the creators. It was the guy, his wife, and their mistress. So there was a lot of submission and BDSM or whatever.
They had that movie they came out with.
Yeah, Dr. Marsden and the Wonder Woman or something. Yeah.
But I mentioned the clay thing. The comic book began making her clay and brought to life, but it's over time morphed into her being the daughter of Zeus. Lasso of Truth. As stupid as some people might think it is, when they show it right in the comic books, when they show it right, like in Wonder Woman, the way she uses it and stuff, I love the way they show that. It's a very multi-use thing. And I don't know. I just think the concept of Wonder Woman is really awesome, and I'm really looking forward to Wonder Woman 84. Just because of the visuals that I've seen, makes me really want to see what they're diving into and what they're going to add to the character. So Wonder Woman.
What was your list again? I missed.
So I think I started with Mara, then Zatanna.
Better.
There you go. Catwoman and Wonder Woman.
Okay. All right. We're gonna go next with Mads.
Hey. Okay. Of course, they're not on my list, but Catwoman, Wonder Woman, they are classic. They're iconic.
Catwoman's not on your list.
Ironically, because I was going to originally, but because she's neither a hero nor villain, it didn't feel right to put her on the list. But again, anyone who's been on my Twitter page knows
Calling
I'm
me
a big
out like
Catwoman fan.
I think
Well, I mean, but Catwoman has done plenty of evil things in the comics. I've seen her
Yes.
murder people. She's part of Batman's rogues gallery. But go ahead.
Exactly. She's neither a villain nor a hero. She plays on her own side. But she will always be my favorite DC character. Period. Wonder Woman, I grew up watching, but I wanted to go outside the standard for DC.
Mhm.
So again, no particular order. I'm going with Raven, which I love her backstory. The fact that she is half demon and she struggles to find balance with that and to overcome what her destiny is. I don't know. It's always appealed to me for some reason. Hot Girl. I don't know. Maybe I've got a wing fetish. I just absolutely adore her. Always have. I'll own it. You know.
A wing fetish.
Hey man. Hey. Why do you think Falcon's one of my favorite characters?
That's funny.
Okay. Vixen. I have to admit, I would love that necklace. The ability to have the powers of any animal. It's just that's awesome. It's badass. I would love it.
That's a good list. Like you got one more.
And most importantly, Barbara Gordon. And I say her specifically, not Batgirl, because this was why she has to be on my list, is because she overcame
You mean when she becomes Oracle?
Oracle, yeah. The
Okay.
fact she did not let being paralyzed stop her from being a hero. That's why she's on my list.
Okay. That is a good list, Mads. I ain't mad at that at all. I think I'm gonna step up next. I got one honorable mention. It's on Mads' list, Vixen. I think she is awesome. I think she had an animated series I watched briefly.
Yeah.
With CWC. Yeah.
I like her. I'm a big fan of Hawk Girl. I like the love interest that they had between her and John Stewart. I'm wondering if any of y'all saw The Last Arrow, like they hint towards John Stewart becoming the Green Lantern. So I'm hoping they'll maybe put that in the new show, him and Hawk Girl. I'm going to take one off of Chris's list, Mira, just because I thought she held her own with Aquaman. Don't know much about the actor herself, but just in that particular movie, she really caught my attention. I think her power is cool, and I think that she's just sassy enough to keep the Jason Momoa Aquaman in line.
Yeah.
Supergirl got that girl next door look. I'm being totally sexist on that. She's awesome. I watched the CW on Supergirl just because of her and that look she had. I don't like the pants she got. I like the dress. Oh, she goes back to the skirts. I'm gonna start a petition. It goes back to the skirt because that pants outfit I don't like.
No.
Yeah.
Even though it's comic book accurate to a point, but
I'm with you on that. I don't hate them, but skirt looks better.
Yeah. And last but not least is Wonder Woman. I will say I do not like Wonder Woman in the Injustice storyline.
No.
I don't like the evil, bad Wonder Woman. It doesn't fit her.
No.
No, she got more of a Lady Macbeth thing going on.
Yeah, I didn't like her in that. Of course, Linda Carter is who I grew up with watching.
Yep.
And I always thought she was the most beautiful woman in the world, but Gal Gadot giving her a run for her money now, boy. So I'm happy both ways.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but Wonder Woman is definitely my favorite DC. Now, another honorable mention is Big Bertha. She is
nice.
I like her because she was trained by I can't think of the lady off Apocalypse.
Granny Goodness.
Granny Goodness.
And I really love her husband. What's it, Mr. Terrific?
Mr. Miracle.
Mr. Miracle. is awesome. He is underrated. But I remember watching on Justice League how he escaped Apocalypse. So I was always drawn to him. I think he's real cool. But
there's a good joke in one of the comics where we see that Big Bertha is indeed taller than Superman, and when he talks to her, he ends up hovering so he can look her in the eyes without having to look up.
Yep. Sometimes in life.
Point of fact, if there had been 5, Bertha would have made my list.
Yeah,
Big Bertha would have made my list.
Joke, buddy. She's not a joke.
No, she's not.
All right, I think next I'm gonna go Mr. Sean, then we're gonna pull up the rear with Terrence. So
Cool. I would say Power Girl as opposed to Supergirl.
Yep.
I really like Power Girl and the story behind Power Girl. She's slightly older than she's slightly aged a bit more than Supergirl in a lot of the lore, and she is essentially Supergirl in a lot of ways, but there's just something about Power Girl that I like a little bit more than Supergirl, at least lately. Yeah. Let's see. Zatanna, of course. I've always liked Zatanna ever since I saw her appearance in Smallville years ago. Then I started looking into Zatanna, and she's really good. Then I saw the Justice League cartoons and stuff, and Zatanna is no joke. She's no joke at all.
No, she's not.
Again, like Mads, I have to say Barbara Gordon. Not necessarily Batgirl, Oracle, or whoever, just Barbara Gordon as a person, because of everything that she has done and everything that she went through. She's been on the streets with Batman. She's been Oracle. Barbara Gordon in her own is just a badass. Plus, she's a redhead.
Did you see the episode where her and Batman
Yep.
hooked up on the roof?
Yep, that was a killing joke.
Killing joke. That was terrible.
That was terrible. But then I would have to say Wonder Woman for sure, because Wonder Woman's fantastic. She can hold her own against Superman. She can hold off like to what?
Say that again.
She can hold her own against Superman, but to a point.
Well, we've had this conversation before. There's been plenty of DC characters that have beat Superman, but the thing is, why and how did they beat him?
Yeah, when I say she can hold her own against Superman, like she can like literally take punches from him, and she can spar with him. But when Superman's done with her, he will plant her face into cement. That's just how much more powerful he is than her. But an honorable mention would have to be Talia al Ghul. I've always liked the dynamic between her and Bruce Wayne and Batman. The beloved whole thing, with Ra's al Ghul and stuff. But I don't really care for Talia in the Arrowverse. Because she wasn't in there that much. The other one was Talia's sister, and I didn't care for Talia in the Dark Knight Dark Knight Rises. I thought she was
at least Talia in the Arrowverse is badass. The one in the Dark Knight Rises, she was just someone that gave orders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
did you see Batman Beyond when Talia showed up?
Yeah. When Bruce Wayne became young again. And Talia was actually Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
Yep. But
she made sure to tell them that it's called Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul, yeah. But I prefer Talia in Batman the Animated Series and that whole animated universe, the DCAU. But Wonder Woman, Power Girls, Zatanna, Barbara Gordon, and honorable mention Talia.
Okay. I ain't at that list at all. That's a good list. Okay, last but not least is Mr. Terrence.
Okay, so once again, none of these characters are my favorites because while I like a lot of female characters, heroes and whatnot from DC, I've always been more drawn to the male characters. And that's just me being honest. I could relate to them more than the female characters. I found more often than not that they had more compelling stories. And like, someone mentioned, usually the draw for the female characters was how they look, like, oh, okay, she looks nice. And then when you read it, you're like, oh, she's pretty cool. So, so I guess in no particular order, I'm going to start with Wonder Woman. I like the fact that on Themyscira, you have an island full of Amazons, and for some reason to me, when I was reading this stuff as a kid, it seemed like they had a hive mind because they all sound the same, they talk the same, they didn't really have any opinions of their own until Diana. She was just like, oh, is that how you think? No, we ain't gonna do things like that. Diana, stop! They they would get mad at her, and she, ventured off into the world, and as you know, the Justice League and so on and so on. And I like the fact that she values all life. She doesn't believe that any form of life is better than any other, male or female or otherwise. And whenever she was with the Justice League, fighting against Superman or whoever, Darkseid or whoever you want to name, she was able to hold her own. And whenever she would get beaten to the point to where you believe that she can no longer stand, she would get up, blood would be dripping from everywhere, and she would just haul off and get in so many, more punches and kicks. And then she would get knocked down again. And I like the fact that I would always be thinking, is she going to get up? And then maybe she doesn't because she's too badly damaged. But I like that her willpower is likened to what you would find with the Green Lantern. Like she was always willing to help and keep fighting. So
I mean, Diana would get up until you put something like you crush it like a semi truck on her head or something like that. Something like do her.
You have to crush Wonder Woman for her to stop coming at you.
Yeah,
I like that about her. And as I've mentioned a gazillion times over, I like really strong, powerful, confident women that are
like
not
in the Death of Superman animated movie from a year or two back. She had an excellent fight against Doomsday.
Yes, I agree.
Those
I love
movies
that.
are trash.
Huh?
Those movies are trash.
Which one? Which ones?
Pretty much all of the animated movies about the death of Superman. I mean, if they would keep it to the comic book and maybe update the comic book a little bit,
the two recent ones were good because you and me, we had this discussion.
The first one was good. The second one literally just rushed so much. Like it really should have 3 or 4 movies.
The very first one that was not in 2 parts, like from years ago, where Superman had like a weird facial structure, that was just garbage.
Yeah, that one was weak. But the part one, the Death of Superman and the Reign of Superman, like the Death of Superman, I would say was great, and the Reign of Superman, I would say is good. That's kind of how I split them up. There is a difference, and they did kind of rush things that you said, but
Superman,
still be a very good, enjoyable film.
Yeah, like for me, Death of Superman was perfectly paced. It was great.
Yeah.
I liked it. The second one, oh my god, they just rushed everything, and it was just nothing felt developed or real. It just happened for the sake of happening.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think the second was more about the action. I felt to where the first one I thought was more story driven, and it was much more compelling. Is how it split up.
But that's why you need to have a good story setting up the action, because without that, the action falls flat.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I would say Zatanna, and the reason why is because
Zatanna's popular tonight.
Yeah, like I like her personality.
Popular with me every night.
I hear that. Like I like her personality. She's very charming, but she has a way about her that she could just manipulate anyone, and that doesn't even take powers. It just takes understanding how people and beings operate due to their emotions. You can like whether it's an alien or a human or whatever, so have you, they tend to have patterns where you can predict the shit that they're going to do and say, which is the many weaknesses of most individuals that you will encounter. They have patterns. And when it comes to her magical abilities, she's always able to use them in a way to where if she's fighting someone more powerful than her, she will end up winning due to the fact that she uses her intelligence and her experience in battle. And because she has experience fighting a lot of powerful characters, she uses that to her advantage. And for me, being a martial artist myself, when someone appears to be bigger and powerful, you have to use your intelligence to beat your opponent. You know, so I appreciate that about her. Like, she's really intelligent. Excellent, Sean.
Wasn't she a protege of Dr. Fate?
For a little while, yes. For a little while.
This is the best comic book that you will ever read in your entire life.
Yeah, stop smoking that stuff.
Just to plug my channel, I actually did a cover of the Saved by the Bell theme song.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And I think Sean was the only one who listened to it. Shame on you all.
No, I listened to it.
Oh,
I apologize for that. I'll have to.
Well, what you think, Chris?
I missed the link.
I like the song.
In
And
Terrence's defense, he doesn't have a Twitter. He doesn't want a Twitter, and no matter how much money you offer him, he will not get a Twitter.
Oh man, that's the worst thing you can do. If anybody offers me money, I'm like, you know, I don't care about money, right? Like that would just piss me off. Like, what if I give you $1 million or $1 billion? Like, I don't care, human. What else can you offer me? Like,
Terrence, I'll give you my Saved by the Bell first edition comic book if you get a Twitter.
offer me your soul.
yeah, man, that's why those conversations I shoot them down with my friends. Oh, what if the government and so offered you this? I'm like, they're going to offer me the wrong shit. I guarantee you.
Well, if the government offered me anything, I'd be like, no. What strings are there, please?
Right.
Only thing I offer is ability to private chat.
Ooh.
Oh my.
I see. I see.
Trying to entice you with something.
How you do it?
How you do it?
Yep, sometimes in life, yeah.
Sometimes
Okay,
in life,
somebody
Terrence
marked
has
the
got a
time.
good
I
Twitter.
made them all quiet at the same time.
Yeah, that was just like if you were getting ready to use your powers, they just kind of go away. Like, wait, what was that?
How's that? Okay.
That's funny.
No, yeah.
Yeah, two more, didn't you, Terrence?
Yeah. Okay, so
She done Jedi mind tricked them, buddy.
yeah. So the next one, I guess I would say, would be Talia al Ghul.
So,
I appreciate her interaction with Batman because Batman, being the super genius that he is, it's really hard to figure out how he operates as a person, and very few individuals on the entire planet really know him aside from the big scary bat that snaps people's spines in his sleep, you know? So her ability to kind of get in his head, manipulate him, fuck him, kid, etc. I'm like, you know what? That's respect right there. That could be a very powerful weapon, more powerful than any nuclear bomb that you can create. So you have that. And then also because, you know, she's a literal assassin connected to the League of Assassins. That's awesome. The ability to fight and her combat experience. Like, I would follow her into any battle and not question her because I know that she knows what she's doing. She would be that person in the room. Right, of course. But if I were in a room full of 200 individuals and she was the only female in the room, as many of them is like, yeah, follow me, do this and that. And then Talia says something. I'm like, yeah, I'm following Talia. Like, you guys can go and die in a corner somewhere. I'm following Talia. So,
and
there you go
especially
with
if those two people saying "follow me" are Talia and Batman, I'd be like, okay.
exactly. Like anything that they could have said or offered is just it's never going to be anywhere near as good. So you can just toss that out the window. And then I guess I'll go with Black Canary because like her interaction with Green Arrow in the comics was actually one of the very few romances that I actually believed and liked, because I'm an individual that like I don't care for romance. Like if you gave me 20 romance movies out of the 20, I'll probably like 3 of them, maybe, depending on the story and the acting talent. So with her and Green Arrow, I've always liked their chemistry because it never felt too sappy to me, like they were trying to sacrifice the story just so they can get it on a rooftop somewhere. It wasn't like that, you know? And no matter how much sex was going on, it never distracted them. They were always on point when they're out in the field. Same thing with Black Canary. She was always on point. And there were moments where Oliver, you know, had what I would call bitch moments. And Black Canary, she would sometimes grab him by the seat of his costume. Like, we have a job to do. The Justice League needs us. You have to get your shit together. You're the Green Arrow. You're better than this. And then, you know, his little goatee would flicker, and then he would flip off the rooftop and shoot an arrow and glide across, you know?
Yep.
In terms of her canary cry, like, I've always thought that was badass. Like, that was the deal breaker. The whole, oh, so there's like 1, 2, 3, 500 of you, huh? Okay, let me take a deep breath. And then she would do that and just mow down entire armies of henchmen. And that was before she even got a chance to lay hands on you. So I kind of thought that was funny because depending on the situation, I kind of found that to be a little merciful in the sense that, okay, sure, it can be painful if you're not rendered unconscious, but I think it's much worse for you to get into a fight with Black Canary versus her using her canary cry on you.
Oh yeah, she'll beat your ass.
Yeah. So it'd be like, yeah, we could defeat anybody. Is that Black Canary over there? Oh hell no! Like, I just jump off the rooftop myself. Like, she ain't got.
And then there's, if you're facing Huntress, it's like Huntress, damn.
Yeah. Huntress, another one. Any of the Birds of Prey, Oracle. I mean, even Oracle being in the wheelchair. Like, I noticed in the comics, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but they have moments where they zoom in on her face, and it could be perceived as being subtle, but she has this glare where she lets you know that she knows more than you, and she has a plan that you haven't figured out yet. And by the time you get to maybe figure out a little piece of it, she already has you where she needs you to be, whether that be knocked out, whether
because
that be
essentially, Terrence, I mean, Oracle is basically the Batman of the Birds of Prey.
Right. Well, I mean, I think the big difference would be that she's kinder than Batman. Like, because she would do like, you know, I'm going to make some s'mores for the Birds of Prey. Like, we beat up 50 criminals in like 20 minutes. So
well, I just think like her planning and like she always seems to be like 2 steps ahead of everybody else. You know?
Absolutely.
She's trained by Batman.
Right. Absolutely. So that's my list. And, you know, as I said, there are plenty of female characters that I like, but not necessarily favorites in the way that I have, you know, specific male superheroes.
Right on.
All of those lists were awesome. Very stimulating conversation. I appreciate all of you for doing that. And something I'm gonna do a little different tonight before we go. I got one bonus question I want you to quickly answer. And the question is, what one DC villain and Marvel villain do you like, but is not really popular or well known, and that you would like to see in the movie theaters? Each one you get one villain for DC, one for Marvel, and we're gonna start with Chris.
Okay, you're saying not used enough in the.
What one DC or Marvel villain do you like, but it's not really popular or well known that you would like to see on the big screen?
Well, I already done that. I'm gonna say, well, first off, oh God, I'm trying to think of Brainiac one.
Which version of Brainiac though? There's been a couple.
Yeah. Brainiac's popular though.
Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, okay, but I'm thinking about his use in where we've seen him, and it just the different
To me, the best version of him that I've seen live action is Krypton.
Yeah, that was a savage Brainiac. The way he looked, the way he spoke, it just was. That's Brainiac.
Yep. Well, in the Batman world, I'm gonna say, well, you see, I guess in a way, I would go with Mr. Freeze, just because I know people know him from Batman and Robin, but that again, you liked it. I think that Arnold Schwarzenegger could have played that very well, but he was very. Just the way it was directed, I just don't think his portrayal was as good as it could have been. That would be DC, I guess. Let's see here, Marvel. Red Skull, they did, which I guess he's popular.
Well, he's popular now because of the MCU.
Yeah. But I'm going by I think their portrayal was good. I don't know about great, but I think it was intriguing how they did it.
They had a great actor playing.
Yeah, well, that guy can play just about anything.
Anything. He killed it. To me, my favorite thing from him is V from Vendetta. That one was awesome.
Mr. Smith, Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, that would be my second one, Danny.
What's the one that he did where's the cross dresser? There's one that was really weird. I think was it one with
Ursula, Queen of the Desert.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. When you see that, you're like, what the hell? Let's go. See, popular. That's the thing. Not popular.
Whatever answer you want, really.
Well,
I'm not popular in.
I'm trying to think of something that isn't popular.
Look at something that hasn't been done to death.
That's kind of the thing. And again, some of the stuff I'm going through, I'm like, well, they've done it and it wasn't bad.
But you want to see not on TV, but I'm saying the big screen.
No, I know. I understand that. But still, I'm going through stuff that I know that has been done. Well, I know one. Oh God! Now you just escaped my mind. Mandarin, the Mandarin. I'm hoping for the whatever's in this series of Marvel movies. I can't remember the name of the.
He's going to be in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Yeah,
they screwed the pooch in
twice.
Twice. And I'm sorry. That is a character that is, and I know that's a popular character. Let's just not say it isn't a popular character, but I know that is one that I think they screwed the pooch with on how they showed it, and they need to show that in live action the way that he should be given it like due credit. And I know that's not popular character.
The Mandarin is not popular. Like, if you mention the Mandarin to your average MCU moviegoer, they're not even going to remember who he is. Now, when they get the real Mandarin, they're going to be shocked to hell.
That's the thing.
That badass.
And I can't even figure out the guy that is at the end of Iron Man 3 when he
he was like, I am the Mandarin. I'm like, sit down.
It's like, what the hell? Are you really trying to pull this off? Are you guys trying to say this?
You hear that extremist armor?
I just want to say that there is a short in not Thor Ragnarok, The Dark World, which very short, not animated, live action film where a servant of the Mandarin comes for Trevor in prison.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and says, you know what, you've taken his name. Now he wants to talk to you. He's like, who are you talking about again?
Yeah.
I thought that was cool, but something about that pissed me off because I'm like, see, that's that bullshit, Kevin Feige. I'm like, you knew what you were doing twice, and then I feel like because there was backlash, he made that scene to make it seem like it was part of his plan. Whatever.
What do you think they're going to do with Shang-Chi? That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to. He knows he screwed the pooch, and now hopefully they'll do something good with it.
Yeah, if he's smart, he will do Iron Fist and Shang-Chi versus the Mandarin. That's what needs to happen.
And the thing is if they do that and they do a good job with the Mandarin, that's going to make that movie.
And he will officially be one of the greatest villains that the MCU has ever had, because most of their villains suck.
No, that's true too. There you go. I mean, and I know the Mr. Freeze isn't. I mean, I don't know. He's in the animated series. He's in the original 60s TV show. He's in, Batman and Robin. But I don't know. I always, every time I've seen him in anything, I get this feeling. And I'll rephrase that. In the animated series, they do a couple good versions of him, but in live action, I've never seen something that I would really say is a good portrayal of Mr. Freeze.
Are you sure? Because I thought his portrayal in Gotham was brilliant.
See, I have not seen the last few seasons, so I don't know when he was introduced, but I have not seen that, so I cannot.
He was cold in Gotham, and
that's the Mr. Freeze that I wanted to see. Like, if you put more money into that, oh man.
Okay, so that I will make sure I check that out, because I still have yet to finish that series.
I'm totally with Terrence that Gotham got the villain's spot.
Yeah. Oh no, and I agree with that, but I didn't know he was in there. But it doesn't surprise me he is, because they pulled everything out of the closet for that.
Their best villain to me was the Riddler, Penguin, and how they did Poison Ivy. I like that.
All great, Danny, for sure. I mean, they did over 45 different villains over the course of 5 seasons.
Yeah,
and their Bane was second best, only to the Bane in the movies.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Good choices. Good choices, Chris. We're gonna go with Maz next.
Would it be okay if I go next? I got to bounce.
Okay. All right. Go, Sean.
Sorry, Mads.
No, it's okay.
I would have to go with and the names are escaping. Parasite. For DC.
They got it almost Superman's ass. Excellent choice.
Yeah, Parasite. I mean, he can suck Superman's powers right out of him. And then for Marvel MODOK.
Nice.
I'm not a MODOK fan, but good choice.
But I mean, they're things that we haven't seen really yet.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see a live action Parasite. Put Parasite in like the next Superman movie.
Yeah,
that would be.
You know who would handle MODOK really well? Give MODOK to James Gunn. He would kill it at MODOK.
Probably.
Hey, Sean. So, do you think that would be the right time to introduce something like that? Though, is that a strong enough? Again, is that a strong enough villain though for people to know, or do you kind of
you get team MODOK up with somebody?
Okay, to be fair, Chris, the masses, if they don't read the comics, they're not going to know a whole lot, because I don't care how many cartoons and shows you watch, that is nothing compared to the knowledge that you can get from the comics.
I think the generation that grew up on Superman, the animated series, will know Parasite pretty well. Mm-hmm. Even the generation that grew up on the Justice League cartoons.
Well,
that's fair, but we have to think about people outside of us. We know, but we're talking about the average person out of the grocery store.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they don't, I mean, the whole point of a movie is to introduce the character.
Yeah, and
that's exactly right, Mads. That's the entire MCU on a plate. Nobody knew them characters.
Any other type of movie, we don't expect you to walk in there knowing about the character.
I didn't have a clue. Galaxy of the Guardians of the
nobody knew who Groot and Rocket were until they saw that movie, unless you were like a Marvel Comics fan.
Exactly.
Now, I mean, I'm not saying that you can't introduce him. I'm just saying, do you introduce him in an underlying story with a strong villain? No, you
team him up with somebody else, like Baron.
Parasite has to. I mean, maybe you could have him in the story with Luthor, and Luthor broke him out.
Yeah, maybe
That's
what I'm thinking.
good, Sean.
Yeah,
But I mean, I think the rule of thumb is that when you introduce a character to the public that they don't know, you have to be sure to show them in such a way that people will like and respect or possibly fear the character. If it's a villain, if it's a hero, people have to be drawn to that character. If you put somebody else with that character, you might make the mistake of having them like that other character instead of the one that you intended them to like.
Yeah, and I will say this with the Lex Luthor thing. While that's a good that's kind of what I'm talking about. Something the problem you have there is that you kind of have to reintroduce Lex Luthor because it just the way they handled it. They need to wipe us clear of that. We
need a beast one on screen. We need a beast
with Parasite though. You could introduce him and show him get his powers and then start running like crazy crap in Metropolis, and Superman.
Would you introduce him as a villain in Man of Steel 2, or would you do Justice League?
No,
Man of Steel 2.
Man of Steel 2 because
they're not going to do a Justice League for a long.
Justice League would put the hurt on Parasite.
Oh my God! If Parasite heard that Justice League was like a couple feet away, he would just die. Like no.
I mean, he might absorb a couple of their powers, for a limited amount of time. But when he absorbs Superman's power, he becomes like all powerful for a pretty good amount of time. And
right.
And Superman like go back and forth, like throwing punches and stuff. So, and it weakens Superman considerably too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be a great one.
You know what else they can explore too, Sean, that a lot of people don't think about is that whenever you steal Superman's abilities, the problem is that you will never be as good as him. You will never be Superman.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know how. Well, the thing is, in all the times that Parasite has stolen Superman's abilities, no, it's just that in all the time that Parasite has stolen his ability, he hasn't really known how to use them to the full potential.
Right, that's right. You gotta know how to use what you have. Otherwise, it's just like, okay, this is just a matter of time before we fuck this person up.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But that's it for me, guys. I got to jump off. It was a pleasure as always being here with you guys. And until I think we're doing something on Thursday, right? Chris, Danny?
Yeah.
On my channel?
Sean, you sure you don't want to stay for another 10 hours?
Nah, I'm good. But, I heard that Danny would like to stay for another 10 hours.
Thursday or tomorrow.
Excellent.
It must be tomorrow.
Or no.
Chris show.
Yeah, Thursday's my show. I know. We'll talk later.
Okay.
We'll talk later.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys.
Later.
Yeah.
All right. Maz, you're next.
Awesome. It actually took me a bit to figure this one out. I'll start with Marvel, and I recognize that not a lot of people will know this one. I'm going to go with Madeline Pryor.
Mm.
The clone of Jean Grey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Married Mr. Sinister.
Nice.
Mary Scott Summer, created by Mr. Sinister.
Yeah. Well, the two of them are connected, so that you also have that factor as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I want to see that aspect. I want to see that dark side of the Jean.
That would be sick. I want to see that too.
Now,
Right?
do you want to see her go full Goblin Queen? Because that opens up
yeah.
a whole other can of worms there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
There needs to be
the
some
way.
drama behind it, and I'll get full behind that. Yeah.
Good deal.
Go full Goblin Queen. Absolutely.
Yep.
Because then you talk about her making a pact with the forces of hell and the demons that were fueling her, and
Yeah. Yep.
Good job.
That would be a sick movie. And
That character, but I'd like to see that myself.
I mean, I've always had a drawn to the character because Mads is actually short for Madeline. It's a different spelling, but yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, insight.
Yes.
Yes. Like I said, different spelling, but yeah, that is actually my first name.
Okay.
DC, and I went back and forth in my head on this, and if you guys go back, you can probably watch me doing that. had to go with Lobo.
Mm.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
he's not as well known, but what we saw of him in
Krypton.
Krypton, thank you, was honestly, I wanted to see more of that.
Thank you.
That
The only thing I want
was,
to see him in,
that was beautiful.
I wish he was a little bit more muscular, like he is in the cartoon.
But to be fair, Danny, in the recent interpretations, I mean, he looks just like how we saw him in Krypton. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, they were straight on with
Not hating the character, the guy, dressing up as Lobo. He was a good eye candy. But no, the whole story factor, the regeneration, all of that is something that we haven't really seen much in the cartoons or anything like that.
he had with that regeneration boy, cut off his pinky and he gonna grow back.
yeah, and his banter was just on point too in Krypton. I love that. Like, wait, I didn't kill my fan. Oh yeah, I did. I forgot. But anyway, like,
I not only want to see more Lobo, I want to see more of that Lobo.
right.
What do you think of?
I would sit through a full 4 hours of that.
Maz, what did you think of Lobo in the DC animated universe?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I like him. He's one of those, he's smarmy, but you kind of hate him, kind of love him at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I
love how he. I love how he's like. Go ahead.
What about him in Young Justice? Lobo.
He had one cameo in Young Justice. I didn't really like the new design. I like the older animated universe.
I remember the episode where he and Superman was captured by the Collector or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Doping him up with that.
I love how the Collector would be like, "Yeah, there's one more thing. I need the Last Guardian." He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm the Last Guardian. Blew the planet up for a science experiment. Gave myself an A." It's like, bro.
Okay, I gotta respond to something. Yes, Perp, I do actually like some characters partially because they're eye candy as well. I'll own that's part of why I saw Aquaman.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, Maz.
No, that's why we like most of the female characters. So
yeah,
good.
Turn about. It's fair play.
That's it. I will go both directions. I mean, heck, that's one of the draws for Scarlett Johansson too.
Yep.
Yeah. And to her, she's a great actress, though. I mean,
I'm going to tell you right now, the first introduction to a female body that I ever got was from a comic book. I mean, that's just the honest truth right there. Is that is the introduction for a lot of people to that world of sex would be the way to put it. And there's nothing wrong with it. You can't tell me that they don't know when they put the actresses in the body paint and stuff for Mystique that they're not going for that. I mean,
oh man, the way Mystique looked in the first X-Men trilogy was like, damn, Mystique, I hope you don't die anytime soon.
Exactly. No, that's my point. Is that
I know you guys hate X-Men 3, but the scene where Mystique loses her powers and is basically turned into, who was it? Femic Jasmine?
I think it was Rebecca.
Rebecca Ramajin Stamos. And she's bare ass naked, looking fine as hell, and he's like, "You're not one of us anymore." She was so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I love that scene. It was gold because I'm like, that is definitely Magneto. He just was like, used to be so beautiful. What a shame.
That was so cold.
But that's how he was.
Okay, comic book character with a female with the best body is Vampiria. I think that's her name.
Yeah, huh?
Oh God, I don't know who drew her, boy. But next, Terrence. You're next, Mr. Terrence.
Okay. I just kind of went off the top of my head. I mean, I could come up with any given time, but for DC, it would be a character named Zarfleeze, and he is a Orange Lantern. And most comic book enthusiasts have no idea who this guy is. Even
that's
like
the one he's what's the word? He's uptight because he thinks somebody's trying to steal his ring.
Well, that's part of it, but like, see, the thing is, like, because he's with Greed, right? Yeah. Like with the other Lantern Corps, you have like hundreds and thousands of members. For example,
he's the only one.
but he's the only one.
Yep.
And for like say the Green Lanterns, their power would be on a scale of 1,000. His would be on 100,000. And because he is keeping all the power to himself,
Yep.
he can actually take out entire Lantern Corps by himself.
Yeah.
And I think that if you put him in any DC movie, like, I mean, preferably, you know, something Green Lantern based, but if he were just to show up, you know, the average person would be like, well, he kind of looks like a Green Lantern, except he's orange. Like, what's this about? And I think that would pique their interest in doing research and possibly buying comics to see that, oh man, there's more than green. There's all kinds of lantern colors, the emotional spectrum. So yeah.
The Green Lantern animated series that came on,
Yep.
covered all that.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I remember that.
Yeah, they did. They did a really good job of that.
They really did.
With all of the various. Yeah, I would love to be a full-on Rainbow Lantern Corps.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
series.
we might get that though, Mads, and the HBO live action Green Lantern series is coming.
That'd be awesome. I mean,
So-
I've got a mirror that I made that's the hope symbol, the blue lamp.
Nice. Yeah, you know, I Zarfleeze has the right amount of aggression and stuff that would really eclipse a lot of the villains that we've seen in any platform, because he's cold and he just doesn't care. Like, he's just like, he can wipe out millions of people and not even bat an eye, and just have the willingness to do it again, and then even eclipse a record that he set for himself, because that's just how the character works. And I think that from that aspect, it would be terrifying for people to watch, and then they can understand, like, you know, the villains you've been seeing, that don't cut it. This is what you need to see right here.
Yeah.
Good choice.
And then for Marvel, I'm gonna go with the Beyonder. And the Beyonder is a character that works under the One Above All, because you have the One Above All, you have the Living Tribunal, and you have the Beyonder.
Yeah.
When it comes to overall Marvel prowess and power,
Man,
those three are at the top.
They ain't got no special effects.
And Danny, this is why you have this man on here.
That is correct.
It's things like that. And Terrence, that's just so awesome. I mean, again, schooling us, always doing that very well.
Oh, thank you for the compliment.
But is the Beyonder, like, I've always seen them as being just a neutral character, not a villain per se.
Well, here's the thing. Someone can say that, but when you have a storyline like that, I will specifically focus on where he gathers up the entire Marvel universe
Secret Wars.
and a planet that he create. Well, there are two different Secret Wars, actually, right? There's one where, you know, he takes these characters and he puts them on a planet that he created, and they have to fight to the death. And the winner gets the prize, whatever you want, because that's how powerful he is. Like, if he can't do it, then the One Above All can do it for him. But he's one of those characters to where when you see him, he wears all white.
Yep.
His hair is kind of slicked back. He has this really nice smile about him, enough to where
Like
you
the
can
devil.
maybe see it as being creepy, but you might think he's a nice guy. But he's not neutral to the point to where he hasn't killed countless people across the Marvel universe, because that's what he does. And
He's
then
It's kind of like Q off of Star Trek.
Yeah,
See, he reminds me of Q off of Star Trek.
yeah, like
Fair
like
enough,
you, like Mr. Mixel.
Mixoplick.
Thank you.
Oh,
I'm
Mitzik
tripping
Pelton.
right now. It's the same concept. You know,
Yeah.
technically a neutral character that has way too much power that is really good for them.
Well, in terms of Mitzik Pitalik, you know, on that DC side, like, I mean, he's gotten to the point to where he's killed so many people that, you know, the Justice League had to step in. And I remember Superman killed him in the comics, just killed him. And it was in a brutal fashion. And it was something to where whenever someone says Superman never kills, you just show them that storyline and their jaw will hit the ground and never come up again.
Oh, God. Show them Doomsday.
Yeah, there you go. That's another example. Or Dr. Light or whoever.
Yeah.
Like, he's a number of people, let alone like how much he's done to his own people that have survived due to the Phantom Zone and such. But like Beyonder, I mean, it's just he's one of those characters to where the audience would be conflicted. They're like, okay, well, he seems like he's neutral, but if I add up how much evil he's done, he leans more towards that side. I feel like with some of these neutral characters, when they say they're neutral, they're really not. You just have to look at what they've done more than anything else. And I'm like, the Beyonder has a death toll in Marvel that's not really rivaled by too many characters. Just on the whole, hey, I'm here. Guess what I want to do today? And everyone's like, oh shit. And usually when he shows up, the majority of the Marvel universe has no idea who he is, which is terrifying to people like Doctor Strange and so on, because they usually have a handle on most cosmic beings. But sometimes in life, when you're dealing with the living tribunal and the Beyonder, since they're so close to the one above all, they're not going to be in most situations because they don't care. And usually when they do stuff, it's either because the one above all told them to do it, or because they just wanted to have fun on a Tuesday because they got bored.
Yep. You're all right. Those are two good choices. Chad, we're going to go with you next there, sir.
Okay. I just want to give an honorable mention. So he's kind of popular, but kind of not anymore. He hasn't been, nothing's been done with him in comics that I can recall for 20 years. Apocalypse. And I think my favorite version of Apocalypse is in the animated series.
Nice.
Because the comics explored him as being the first mutant, which is scary, who merged with celestial technology to gain all his powers, which is cool. But I like the animated series, how this is a genuine force of nature.
Yeah.
That take away all his powers, he's still coming back. You can kill him, he's coming back. He's a legitimate force of nature. You cannot kill him. I love that angle. And because it's now like, okay, everyone else you can reason with, you can fight to a standstill, you can maybe defeat them, you can outrun them. Apocalypse, you can't do any of that with. And it added a level of tension in the series, which I think really made it distinguished. And let's face it, that was not Apocalypse in that movie.
Oh, no. I like the actor, but that portrayal was not what it should have been. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, and there's even one moment in the X-Men animated series, which is an alternate timeline that Cable's seeing, where Apocalypse killed the X-Men in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Just grew to giant size and blasted them. That's it. Like that's how powerful Apocalypse was. That's the kind of power they were messing with. And I wanted to see that Apocalypse.
Do you feel like they should show his lazy side? Because, like, as you stated, he's very powerful, and it's pretty much impossible to kill him if, like, there's like a couple people that could, but it's not very likely that they would show up in that story.
Right.
So
Magneto managed to do it by concentrating to the point where he could control the celestial armor that Apocalypse wore, and literally just ripped him in half.
Right. But I mean, do you feel like they should show that, like his lazy side? Because he has a lot of moments where he doesn't do anything because he's that powerful until he decides to do something.
I think so, yeah, because I think that makes the character. This is a character that has a certain sense of ennui, that he's been around for so long, killed so many civilizations, that he's literally bored. And that he wants to build up worthy fighters that can take over the planet from him.
Yeah.
So I think that's such an intrinsic part to the character. Yeah, he wants the most powerful to rise up. He wants a challenge. He wants people to come at him and genuinely make it worth his time to fight them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but getting to my main two, the first one in DC is Blight from Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
I don't think he was so underused in the series. He really was.
I agree.
Yeah. I think he had he's the one who ordered Terry's father killed. He's the one who created Batman Beyond. He's taken Bruce Wayne's company away from him and made it into a force of crime, which Bruce Wayne wanted to fight. He was such a personal villain for the two of them. And even when Blight was dead, quote unquote, Bruce still had to fight to get ownership of his company again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Blight had such an amazing connection to the two of them that if a Batman Beyond movie happens, Blight has to be the villain for a trilogy.
Okay.
Because he was just such a great villain. Like, I love when Terry literally says to him, when Blight is like, "Who are you? Why are you chasing me?" And Terry comes out and says, "You killed my father." And he looks at him and goes, "Do you have any idea how little that narrows it down?" It was so cold. Yeah. I also love the fact that his own son hated him and wanted to expose him for being the supervillain so that he would be chased and eventually killed.
Yeah.
That was a great moment. On the Marvel side of it is Maestro.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. And what I love about Maestro is the personal connection he has to Hulk, specifically Professor Hulk, where basically when Professor Hulk came back, before he went to the future, Professor Hulk was still in a very aggressive state. He thought he had everything going together because the personalities were merged. He thought he didn't need anyone. He was even willing to accept his separation from Betty.
Right.
When he came back, he walked into Samson's house, and Samson's like, I got to move on. I have new patients I have to see. You obviously don't want my help, yada, yada. And he broke down. He literally collapsed to his knees and begged Samson for help. Because meeting Professor Hulk Maestro scared the hell out of him. And he basically said, when I looked into Professor Hulk's eyes as he was beating me, I saw my father.
Yeah.
And I'm terrified that I could become that someday. Because that's what Maestro was. He was the future version of the Hulk.
Yeah.
And when he talked to Hulk, the Hulk had to admit, he's making sense. And he's saying, let's just rule like gods. What do you have to go back to? An army that's hunting you? A wife that will eventually leave you? Friends that will betray you? A world that hates you just for having your gifts? Stay here. We'll rule together.
Yeah.
And even Hulk had to admit, he's making a kind of sense, but no.
Yeah,
and
I like that.
And that kind of villain that villain that has that personal connection to the hero, that represents something a little bit more than a foe to fight, that's a mirror for themselves and a terrifying mirror. Man, Maestro is the guy that made me read Peter David comics.
Nice.
Look for that name in comics.
Yeah.
So those that don't know, Peter David is the Star Trek writer that decided for fun to give Lwaxana Troi Q powers.
Okay.
Yeah, you can bet that was an interesting time for Picard.
Good.
Very good
choices. Good choice, everyone. I'm gonna be quick. For DC, I want to see Mixoplex, or however you pronounce his name. He's always been one of my favorite. I remember him in animated series. I think Jeffrey Godfrey played his voice in that movie, in that particular series.
Yep.
And I think it's 90 days. I think that's the window that opens up to the fourth dimension, wherever he lived at. And he would give Superman hell, boy. Superman would trick him and make him write his name backwards and do all kind of stuff.
Did you like the recent interpretations of Mxyzptlk, like in terms of the Arrowverse or in Smallville?
I did. I saw him in Smallville. Did not see him in Arrowverse.
Yeah, he was on.
I did see him in Supergirl.
Yeah.
He actually wasn't bad.
I think if they bring Mxyzptlk into the DCU, they need to do Emperor Joker.
Oh, yeah.
Where Joker tricked Mxyzptlk into giving him his powers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that would be good. I like to see the Batman Who Laughs too.
Oh crap!
That's gonna be
man.
Yeah. Wow.
That's my honorable mention. I'm starting to read that. Boy, he's hell. So he gonna be if they do bring him into the big screen, he's gonna be hell. I don't know how they're gonna contain him. But from what I'm reading in the comic books, he is hell. So
Yeah, that's right, Danny. If humans think the New Mutants is scary, I'm like, no. If the Batman Who Laughs shows up in a teaser and that face fills the screen, people are running out of that theater. I'm just saying.
God, yeah.
he is hell.
True.
Yeah.
And for Marvel, I've always liked Omega Red. I don't know why. I like the Russian voice, and he has some of the same powers that Wolverine and Sabretooth has. So he has the death spores, carbonate cables.
Carbonadium.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've always liked him. The fact that he's pretty much unstoppable except for Cole, that's kind of crazy because he's from Russia where it's cold as hell. But
Yeah. Just want to say that did you see the Wolverine anime?
I did not.
I did. I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
But how about the episodes with Omega Red?
Honestly, I didn't like it. To me, the only Marvel anime that I thought was decent was the Blade one.
I like the X-Men one. I think the X-Men one did right by the characters. But when Omega Red shows up in the Wolverine anime, it's like, oh shit. Now it got real.
Fair enough. I mean, I guess I can admit to that. Even though overall, I wasn't feeling it for some reason.
Yeah, the Wolverine anime is pretty not that great, but the Omega Red entrance is badass.
Yeah.
I like Omega Red. I would like to see him in the big screen. Trying to see an actor who would pull him off.
That's a good one, Danny. I don't really hear too many individuals mentioning Omega Red. I remember when they said we were going to see him in X-Men Origins Wolverine, but good thing we didn't because that movie is trash. But yeah.
Yeah.
Who would she be in Black Widow? That would be awesome since he's going back to Russia.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Honestly, who I could see playing Omega Red? Misha Collins.
Who?
He does that. He plays Castiel on Superman.
Yeah, Castiel. You know what, Mads? That is a very good choice. That is a very good choice.
He is buff.
I was thinking,
and he does that because his family background actually is Russian, so he does the accent beautifully.
That is a damn good choice.
Whiplash and Iron Man 2. I can't think of his name.
Oh, Mickey Rourke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Older version.
He would kind of bring the more like because Misha Collins, that's great, Mads. I love that. I probably wouldn't have thought of that offhand. That's a great choice. In terms of Mickey, he kind of, I guess, would deliver what would like in terms of appearance, he would look tougher, if that makes sense. But
and those cables kind of I think it would work. Well, I want to thank you all for joining me. We're going over the 2 hour and 12-minute mark. It was great conversation, stimulating. I'm not sure whether or not Chris is going to be able to join us next week. He's going out of town for business, but I'm thinking that the next show, if we're able to do it, is going to be cartoon intro songs that get you jacked up to see the actual show.
Oh, I'll be down for that one. When is that?
So the next show I'm going to discuss with Chris, but we'll be on here all night, so I'm going to limit it to 3. What 3 cartoon shows when you heard that intro, you got jacked up, was ready to see the actual show, or stick in your mind and that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah, I already got songs in my head.
Same year. When is that?
3 already.
If it's not next Monday, it'll be the Monday after.
Monday.
We might be able to do next Monday. We'll have to see.
We'll let you know later on this week, but that's going to be. I have Chris put it on the group chat we have on Twitter, and I'll touch base with you, Terrence.
All right. I'm not in that chat, so make sure to add me to that.
I got you. I got you on there. I'll send you the link. But just start thinking about it now. My plan is to have each one we pick, or maybe just our number one, have Chris share the screen, and you be able to actually play whatever your number one intro song will be.
Give me enough time ahead. Give me maybe a few days ahead of time. I can maybe actually sing them.
Nice.
That's okay.
but I would like to hear it.
Hey, one I got now, but it'd be hard to sing, Bo, because it's crazy. The one I have, you have to be.
He's done some stuff that from cartoons. I mean, he's good.
Okay.
Good. But,
like I'll send you the link to my doing Saved by the Bell.
Okay.
Oh shoot.
Sure. But that's going to be the categories. Again, as always, I enjoy y'all and thank you all for coming to the show. Before we leave, everybody quickly tell where people can find you, what you do, and where we can find you in your next content you're going to send. I'm going to start with Chad. Go ahead, sir, and tell the people where.
All right. Well, you can always find me on. I don't have a YouTube channel, but you can find me on S-Mule under the Spoony Bard. And if you get that reference, that's awesome. And where I'm uploading a lot of songs and a lot of love songs in preparation for Valentine's. In fact, I just did some uploading earlier this evening.
Good deal. Next is Mr. Knight. Where can we find you at, sir?
You can find me on YouTube at The Real Review 3000. Just look it up on YouTube. I think you can put it in Google search now and pretty much get me now, finally. It took me a while to search myself 1,000 billion times to actually get that to work. You can find me there. You can find me on Twitter at Chris Knight 5150. I have an email, all sorts of other stuff. You can go to my YouTube channel and find out that information. But always looking for new subs. Always appreciate you having me on here, Danny. I do have to bounce. Got a kid telling me I'm being loud. So, guys, Terrence, Mads, Chad, Sean, doesn't matter. But
I should get going too. But it's been a blast, and hopefully see you guys next Monday.
Guys, take it easy. Danny, I will talk to you about next week for sure. Next couple days. So, all right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you. Mads, you're next, ma'am.
I promise I'll stay after. Hey, I'm Mads Mama Bear here. You can find me at Mads Mama Bear, just as you see below, at both Twitter and on YouTube. I do occasionally post videos. I've been taking a bit of a hiatus because of my birthday this last month, and just trying to get back into the swing of with the new year. But I will start uploading Supernatural very, very soon, and soon enough. In fact, I'm hoping next week to get a special recipe down for Valentine's Day.
All right, good deal. And Mr. Terrence, where can the people find you at, sir?
Hello, humans. My name is Terrence. If you go over to an interesting channel called Tremaine Terrence that I share with my brother Tremaine, you will find that there are over 8,175 videos consisting of movie reviews for TV shows, different topics, comic books, sports, everything that you can imagine, really. Just depends on the day and what I feel like talking about. But if you are interested in hearing various opinions on different topics and you appreciate someone being real, just giving you that 100% honesty and you're not too sensitive, then maybe Tremaine Terrence is the place for you.
Good deal. And I am Danny Graham. This is my channel, Comic Chats. I talk about anything that's comic book related, whether it involves movies, TV shows, comic books. As you can see in background, Dragon Ball Z. I'm a big fan of that. I want to say I thank everyone that joined my show. All these people that joined the show have good content. Please subscribe to their channels. If you have not, please, when you subscribe to their channels, hit the notification bell because they have good material. I'm telling you, Terrence is very, very knowledgeable and very funny. I make sure I catch all of his channels every day. The last one I watched was about him getting his nutrients. And I was driving down the road and was laughing my ass off the whole time. So definitely check him out. Check out Mads Mama Bear. She's a very good person. I'm glad I met her. Support her channel. Happy birthday, belated birthday. But like I said, check them out. We trying.
Oh, yeah, happy birthday! I didn't even know.
That was back on 15th, but yeah, my mom's birthday is also in January, so there's been a lot of.
Yeah, they had a big party stream going on, Terrence.
Yes, we did. We did.
I think it was about. I think your car yourself the Queens now. Is it?
Yeah, every Thursday night, 9:30 Eastern. It'll be on my channel this week. Yeah, me and the other queens, we take turns hosting, talking about topics.
Yep, it's good stuff. So please support that.
Check it out. Check it out, Terrence. You'll love it.
Absolutely.
All right, people. Again, thank you.
I have one question for you.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Are you sure you can't stay another 10 hours?
No, sir. I cannot. I wish I could, but I can't. Man, we talked about 2 hours last night through text.
That's very true, Danny. But sometimes in life, just that 10 hours seems right in the world, and yeah.
Maybe one day, but not today. All right, bro. I appreciate it, man. Again, y'all take it easy. Y'all have a good night.
Yeah, man.